Okay, looks like Sonic Project 06 is in the lead for Spin Effect with 218 votes. Thank you all for voting for that. That's what we're going to run White Acropolis with, and then the next stage we'll get started there. So, time is going to begin when I say go. Sonic Project 06 Shadow Any % in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So, if you did not catch the last time we showed this game on Bargain Bin and don't know what a Sonic Project and or 06 are, this is a fan remake in the Unity engine of the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 that released on the Xbox 360 and PS3 by Mr. Lead Developer Chaos X, as well as a lot of other heavy hitters in the Sonic the Hedgehog modding community, such as BeatZ, Gotta Play Fast, Jericyclo Gaming, and Mr. Sonic Pox himself on animations. Basically, what it does is it revamps a lot of the stages, revamps pretty much all the characters, the physics, and all that good stuff to transform one of the most infamous video games of all time into one of the best 3D platformer experiences out there. Not just Sonic, 3D platformer experiences in its entirety. I'm glossing over the characters a little bit here as we get started in the run for Shadow, but that's because we got a pretty cool custom cutscene coming up right here.
Got in successfully and got the treasure too. I was only a little slow getting that.
All right, now that Rouge and Shadow have met up, Philip, could you take us away on what we're doing here?
Of course. So normally in Project 06, you want to reach the goal ring to finish level, just like in many other 3D Sonic games. But in Shadow's White Acropolis specifically, you actually have to destroy these searchlights to escape Eggman's complex. So we're going to be using the homing attack to get up here, and also be using Shadow's special action in the air, which is the Chaos Spear. Charging that up will deal some damage and will allow you to destroy these searchlights, and it also gives you a little bit of heights. So that's how we get up here and destroy all the searchlights.
Shadow's Chaos Spear has 2 levels. If we just press the X button, I'm using an Xbox Series X controller. If you just press the X button, you're going to do a single shot that can hit up to 5 targets. That's just going to stun them. If we charge it up to its yellow variant, it's going to fire 5 projectiles that do 1 point of damage, getting rid of those searchlights and moving us into the next stage, Kingdom Valley. And I see that Sonic 06, the original, is winning right now, so I'm going to switch that right here. And Philip, take us away with the hang glider.
All right, so in the original 06 and P06, you have Shadow's vehicles, which is kind of like a remnant from Shadow the Hedgehog 2005, which is the GameCube video game. And basically how it works is every 3 seconds, you're able to do a little boost, and you go forward. That's basically it.
That's pretty much it. And Twitch chat, I'm going to need some help in the next hang glider section, counting to 3. I don't want to lose track, of course. But yeah. Moving back over to Rouge here, we are going to do our first key hunt. So in Kingdom Valley, we have kind of the Sonic Adventure 1 radar here, where we can track any of the keys at any time. Each of these keys have 3 different locations they can be in, with one of those locations being where it was in the original game. Getting pretty bad luck with the 3rd key here, getting it in its retail spot. We obviously don't want it there because it's normally behind some like enemy gates or some requirement that we have to do where the other 2 are out in the open. Wow, getting horrible luck. Getting 2 of the retail keys with such a strong start with the 1st key. But that's A-okay. We can just use some of Rouge's martial arts, her gliding and her climbing, in order to take down that section there as we move on into the next part, entering yet another vehicle, the hover car.
Oh boy, we love vehicles. All right, so Shadow's hover car, as the name suggests, it hovers. So we'll be using that to hover over these stuff like water and other stuff that you can't really walk on. Shadow has air shoes, but he needs the hover car for some reason. I'm not going to ask questions about that. But yeah, we're going to be using that to like cross bodies of water and stuff. So we'll be seeing more of that later. But that's it for now.
Absolutely. One thing I didn't mention is that the stages in the original Sonic 06 and Sonic Project 06 are divided into sections. So whenever we refer to Section 1, Section 2, or Section 3, that is just kind of like how the stages are divided up between loading screens and such. Speaking of a Section 3, here we are in Section 3 of Kingdom Valley. talk a little bit about Shadow's general movement. We do have the spin dash back. Funnily enough, this was not an ability he had in the original game. Guess they wanted to make him more unique from Sonic, but thankfully the devs behind Project 06 added it back in here, and thank goodness, because it really speeds up his stages. Additionally, we have the homing attack, the aforementioned Chaos Spear, which I didn't mention, that the Chaos Spear, we can do up to 3 spears in the air before we have to do a homing attack or land on the ground to reset the counter. And each individual Chaos Spear gives us a little bounce upward, gaining a little bit of extra height. We're not going to be seeing it too much in the run, but it's pretty useful for throughout, especially if I make a mistake, because it gives me the chance to save myself. In addition to that, this up again. I would normally have to jump in the air, do a jump dash, do a Chaos Spear, and then I would be able to do a second jump dash. However, if I press the A and X button, which is the jump and the Chaos Spear button at the same time, I'm able to bypass the Chaos Spear and just do a straight up second homing attack. With the custom homing attack style of Legacy, which allows us to preserve our direction, we're able to get Shadow to move through these stages. Pretty great stuff. Let's see, looks like Project 06, Sonic Adventure 2, makes sense, is ahead with 404 votes. We need some some votes for Sonic Adventure 1.
Shadow, don't be late. You're talking to me?
Despite being the namesake, that was the only time we are going to be seeing Sonic during this entire run. Be sure to tell Midnight, let GDQ know if you want to see Project 06 on the bargain bin again for that Sonic DLC. Philip, why don't you take us away on kind of how the physics work in Project 06?
Yeah, so basically how the physics work is that they're very similar to how they work in games like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, in that, especially for Shadow, because he has the most like traditional moveset, I would say, where you can spin dash, as you can see here. This is a very long section downwards, so you get to see a lot of the spin dash that was newly added. And so if you're familiar with those adventure-era Sonic games, you'll basically have the general gist of how they move and how they work.
Mm-hmm. And what I talked about earlier, that the stages are revamped, the stages are actually probably the least changed element of Project 06 compared to the original game. Because the original game, if you've been on YouTube at all within the last 10 years, you've probably come across a video or two that talks about how 06's level design is like one of the few redeeming factors of it. Your mileage may vary on the rest of the game, but I would definitely agree with that sentiment. And it's really cool to be able to run through these stages with these characters and their new moves and new physics and all that kind of stuff. Really takes advantage of the level design that Sonic Team created. What you saw me do right there is activate Chaos Boost, and I think a certain Shadow fan would like to talk about that.
Yes, I would. I love the Chaos Boost. So this ability, once you've filled up your Chaos meter in the corner, you can activate Chaos Boost. He gets this red ketchup aura. And what it does is basically it unlocks for each level of Chaos Boost. There are 3 levels plus a 4th secret one. You basically unlock a new ability. So here we can see him use the first ability, which is the Chaos Snap. Now, not only... Whoa! That trick is really hard.
Yeah, hardest trick to run right there.
Yeah. So basically what it does is it extends your homing attack and also does a little bit extra damage. So that's a really nice ability to have.
All right, chat, count with me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
This is riveting gameplay.
So there's a little space in between the level design and the kill plane that we can just use the hang glider to fly there. So really simple section as we jump into Shadows Section 4. Section 4 here is probably the most unique. Crisis City is also Shadow's longest stage. It's got a whole lot of set pieces and such, just to make it a little bit different from Sonic's. But a cool thing is that Shadow is the only character to go through Section 4 in this way. Silver actually goes through it in a unique way as well, leaving this section, going to a different one, and then coming back to this one because he has a bit of slower gameplay compared to the other 2 hogs. But yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. Let's see, Philip, I did want to ask you, what is your history with speedrunning in Sonic Project 06?
All right, so yeah, my name is FilipIsCold. You might have got that by now. And I started speedrunning this in the Shadow release, which is when Shadow was first added. This was before like Silver and stuff. And I basically only specialize in Shadow. I don't really touch the other categories. So like Shadow is like, it's my thing, you know? So that like, I don't really touch all the other stuff, basically. that is sure.
Yeah, I got the Shadow
short, truncated
expert here with me. No, you're all good. Sonic Adventure 1 is winning, so we're going to be switching to that. I want to do a quick shout out to Mr. BeatZ, who I mentioned before helped with the creation of Project 06. He made he made a very quick mod for me for this particular showcase where I can change the spin effects on the fly. Normally you have to go into an extra menu, but quick shout outs to him for that. Using a move called the Cyclone Kick here, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that later in the run, so we'll talk about it then. And as Philip mentioned, we use level 1 of Chaos Boost in Crisis City, and there are actually 3 unique levels of Chaos Boost, but we're actually going to be skipping level 2 and level 3 and going straight into level 4, uninhibited mode. Philip, you want to talk about the secret upgrade?
Oh yeah, so once you get to level 4 of Chaos Boost, you unlock yellow mode, or as it actually called, it's called uninhibited mode. It's seen in a cutscene in the original game, but Chaos is added like into the actual game, and it functions very similarly to like Super Transformation, to like Supersonic and stuff. So what it does is it makes you invincible. It turns all of your Chaos Boost abilities to the max. To the max that it can go, and instead of draining rings, it drains your chaos meter in the corner. As you can see, it's going down, and once it goes down to 0, you'll actually get like kind of a time penalty where Shadow has to recharge. So you kind of like have to balance like defeating enemies to collect the chaos drives so that you can keep your gauge up. But as you can see here, now Stelmo reset at the start of the section here, so it didn't need to take that penalty, which is a little speedrunning trick you can do.
Yeah, thankfully, as a bit of a sanctuary, I suppose, Chaos made it to where it does not give you the penalty in automation, so Shadow wouldn't, like, be on a springer in a jump panel and then just immediately fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
But in Flame Core Section 2, we're going to be doing some pretty simple movement with Rouge and Shadow. With Rouge, we actually have to hit 5 orbs, which I know are pretty popular around the GDQ parts. Throw your orb in chat, if that's still a meme. I don't know, I'm a boomer. But
I feel like it's always going to be.
Midnight, if there are any questions in chat, or if you have any questions yourself about Project 06, now would be a perfect time to ask it.
So I didn't see many in chat, but let's just for the people that are that may be watching this on YouTube and maybe don't understand why there's a difference between Sonic 06 and Project 06. And I know for some people that may be like but why? Like, why did this become a thing?
This became a thing because Sonic 06 is viewed in the general public as a terrible, terrible, terrible game with an amazing amount of potential. One of the biggest things that people bring up about the original game is that it was very rushed for the 15th anniversary deadline. So there was a lot of stuff that was shown off or not even shown off that was kind of left on the cutting room floor for it. And the ability to remake it in a fan remake and have as much time, like the P06 devs, since they aren't like part of a company or anything, have to please investors or anything like that. And because Sonic Team and Sega are so gracious in allowing people to create free fan games with their IPs, it was able to just kind of flourish into something really incredible. And a lot of people consider this, I myself consider this, the pinnacle of a 3D Sonic experience and just an incredible 3D platformer overall. And again, absolutely free. So very cool stuff. Great question. Thank you. Moving on into Radical Train here. We have to hit 2 different checkpoints where we have to defeat Eggman's train with Shadow using his Cyclone Kick. Philip, if you want to do a very quick summary of the Cyclone Kick here.
All right, so the Cyclone Kick, it's really good. You want to use it in combat. So basically how it works is that when you press the button to use it, you'll start doing the kick, and the more you press it, the bigger the hitbox will get. And the hitbox, it constantly hits the enemy. So it's gonna like absolutely shred foes with health bars. So and you can use it while moving. So like it's really good for that.
Really good. We're going to go ahead and jump into the bike here, the third of the 4 vehicles that we're going to see in this run. The bike has a boost as well, but we don't want to use it too much or else this train's going to rubber band. And I activated Shadow's Chaos Boost before I hopped into the bike because as a cool little nod, to Shadow the Hedgehog 2005, the GameCube Xbox game. When Shadow is in his Chaos Boost, he gets infinite ammo in his vehicles. We haven't seen it in the Hang Glider, but the Hang Glider has a missile weapon, and normally you have to like wait for the ammunition to reload. But since we're in Chaos Boost, we don't have to worry about it, just like in Shadow the Hedgehog with those Chaos powers, which is pretty freaking sweet. The original Sonic 06's Spinball winning by 1 vote. I think we need to see some extra votes for Adventure 2, but that's just me. Here we go into Aquatic Base. We are going to talk about the Cyclone Kick some more here, watching it absolutely shred all the opposition here. Yeah. As Philip talked about, the hitbox is a sphere around Shadow, which goes above and below. So you saw me be able to use the Cyclone Kick to defeat those worms before they even popped out of the ground. Also, by the way, these purple worms have the most health out of any enemy in the game. Just for reference. But here we go, switching over to Silver, making a reappearance on the bargain bin here. Philip, I think you have a pretty good summary of Silver's abilities.
Yeah, so Silver, he can float, he can make things float, and he can float those things into enemies to kill them. That's it. That's all you need to know. That's it.
Go watch the bargain bin run of Silver Any Percent if you want to learn more about him. Switching back to Shadow, though, obviously Silver is a lot more nuanced than that. We just don't really have time to go into it since he is a main character. But here we go, seeing the Cyclone Kick again, but I'm actually going to activate Chaos Boost level 3 with the Chaos Blast taken straight from Shadow's titular game once again. One really cool thing about Project 06 is all the references to other games, especially other adventure era games in the past, which is just some really neat stuff. Being able to see all these mechanics not only brought back, but fleshed out in a new way to really round out the experience and make these characters feel really unique because, of course, they've had a lot of different abilities over the series. So as we go from Chaos Boost level 1 all the way up to uninhibited mode, which is level 4, the drain of the action gauge increases. So in order to preserve my Chaos Boost and go to level 4 immediately, I stayed in Chaos Boost level 3 right there because there's not quite enough enemies in order to keep it going if we were to activate it earlier. And we're going to do this really sick fight room. Hey, there we go. We got to see one extra ability too, the Chaos Lance. We get that upgrade at level 2 Chaos Boost. Our base spear turns into the yellow variant that I mentioned earlier, and then the charge version turns into a projectile that does a bunch more damage. In uninhibited mode, we can use that stronger variant without having to charge it, and we can also target 5 projectiles at once, which is pretty sick. But moving on into our final hang glider section here. Count to 3 if you'd like to in chat. I also see we got a lot of Sonic Adventure 2 votes on the spin effect, so I'll switch to that as well, which is pretty awesome. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the P06 dev team, like I mentioned already. They've created an absolutely awesome game, and I'm so happy we've gotten to showcase it so many times over the GDQ hotfixes. Maybe one day we'll get it into one of the biannual events, but I'm super happy to be here. Shout outs to FilipIsCold for being with me on comms. It's been awesome having you here. Additionally, I want to shout out the P06 speedrunning community Discord. If you're interested in anything about this game, really, you can join that. That's a fantastic hub in order to ask questions, get into speedrunning, and myself, Philip, and a ton of other folks are willing to jump in and help out there. Additionally, this game is absolutely free. Like I talked about before, you can download it off of Chaos X's YouTube channel. I believe links to both the Discord and the game itself will be in the chat. So be sure to check those out if this interests you at all. Yeah. Literally costs no time. So you're good. We got Omega here, which I know a certain #1 Omega fan is dying to talk about, but I think I rambled on just a little bit too long. No, just a little bit too long.
We'll see him later.
For that, but we'll see him later. Cool little cutscene there. Omega teasing another ability that he didn't have in the original game, and we're going to switch back to Shadow here. There's normally this giant section where we use his 4th vehicle, the buggy, which is in all sense of the word just a worse bike. But we don't need it because we can just spin dash right to the switch and continue on here. I'm actually going to turn back around and grab this checkpoint because it's very easy to die here. Yeah, I'm not taking any chances. It's very easy to die in this last section of Wave Ocean because we actually have some new level design here. I'm going to use that wall right there. The characters have very interesting properties when they go up against slanted inclines in this game. They get extra height, so we're able to use that there. Using that Titan, we call him Dave because he helps us cross that gap here in Wave Ocean. Using that Badnik Bounce, returning, honestly, from the classic games. The Badnik Bounce is in like the earlier 3D Sonic games and a lot of the Sonic games after, but it's not nearly as good as it was in the classics, and they definitely take a lot more inspiration from the classics in P06 here. So really cool stuff. Philip, you maybe want to mention something about the time of day here?
Before we leave Wave Ocean, I just want to mention the daytime here. Normally, in Sonic 06, it's just straight up daytime. But as you can see right now in Shadow section, it's sundown. And in P06, the developers have basically changed so each story's respective Wave Ocean is in a different time of day. So that's just a really cool detail. And the visuals in this game are just really nice. Shoutouts to the dev team.
Yeah, honestly, shout out to the dev team for everything. They're so amazing. They're so amazing. There's so much cool stuff in this game. You know, something kind of weird's happening at the beginning of Dusty Desert here. I thought we were supposed to like go around through a bunch of pillars or something like that, Philip.
Yeah, that's really boring, and luckily the devs knew that. So they've been gracious enough to leave a little debug trigger at the end there of the pillar of the chain of pillars you're supposed to go through that just opens the door for you. So instead of like taking up to a minute through the section, you'll only be like around 20 seconds, which is real nice.
But now we get to talk about something way more interesting. Omega. Philip, take it away. I know you're itching.
So Omega controls like a combination of a lot of different mechs we've seen throughout the series, and I basically call him like an amalgam of how he plays in Heroes, how like the SA2 mechs play with the P shooter you can use to like shoot little shots all over the place. And yeah, he has this Heroes ground combo. He has some of his moves from 06, like the air shot, which are like powerful projectiles you can shoot in there. And he also has a secret move that we'll be seeing later that I don't want to spoil.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it. We saw it against Mephiles, but that's not just a cutscene move. And it's a good thing that Project 06 is really good at, is that honestly, if there's any like fan move or just like, man, I wish I could use this move on a Sonic character in 3D, it's probably in this game. And one of those moves for me is being able to just mow down the opposition with Omega in Gatling gun mode here. We have a limited amount of ammo, but we don't really have to worry about that because we get extra ammunition by defeating enemies a la Doom. As defeating enemies give us these energy cores that fly into our character automatically. So if you're wondering where those energy things came from in Generations, you actually have the original Sonic 06 to thank for that. That's a modern element that continued, that started here, which is pretty cool. But now that we're done with Omega's Dusty Desert here, he is the bulk of the stage.
Goodbye, Omega.
We're going to be switching back to Shadow for just a little bit. Welcome to the worst room in the game. Across all three stories, this room, if you don't go through it in that specific way, it doesn't feel good at all. And honestly, it doesn't even feel good to go through it in that optimal way either. That's the one that feels the least bad.
Whatever you do, don't fall in the sand.
Don't fall in the sands or else you're going to have a bad time. Shadow's story, I should say, is the most RNG heavy of the three stories. We've got 2 key hunts, which we're going to be seeing the next key hunt very soon. And we've also got those sand waves. The height of the sand wave is random. All right, looks like for our final spin effect, we're going to be ending with the default one. How appropriate.
Also, by the way, goodbye, Shadow. This is the last we'll see of him. The next stage is Rouge's Tropical Jungle. So we decided to include this extra stage in the speedrun because we like playing game. So decided to include all the stages. And
we basically got another key hunt, except we only have 2 of the 3 keys are randomized. So a little bit easier. Time is going to Rouge wanted to take a dip in the water there.
Yeah,
there had to be one death, right? Train of thought is gone. Time is going to be when I hit the goal ring in this stage. But anyway, so I guess to move on, I have a fun fact about Rouge that has nothing to do with Project 06. I believe this is a rumor, but there have been a couple sources that says this is true. When Sega of America was creating Sonic Adventure 2, they needed a third character for the Dark Side story. And they were stationed either in or near Baton Rouge, California, or Baton Rouge, Los Angeles. I don't know. Things are weird around here. But the Baton Rouge, Rouge the Bat, you get the idea. And that's time as we finish up Shadow's run in Project 06.
Let's go.
I really hope you guys enjoyed. There is some extra stuff if we do have time, but if not, it was an absolute honor to be on here as always.
Yes.
Yes.
No deaths.
Yes.
No deaths.
No deaths. Yeah, still counts. Deathless.
Louisiana. LA stands for Louisiana. I am American. And I knew that.
All right, American. Good job.
That makes way more sense. Oh, all right, sick. We've got some extra stuff to show off in Project 06, and we actually get to see the blue guy, which is super exciting.
What?
So, in the extras menu, you're able to access P06's test stage, which has a ton of goodies. You can play around with any of the characters that you want. There are tons of enemies to defeat. To check out all this stuff, a little tease here using Sonic with his gem abilities. Again, let GDQ know if you want to see Sonic's any percent. It is probably the most crowd-pleasing run in the entire game. But if we head into section 2 of the test stage and we run up to this mirror to the very top of the pillar here, we are going to enter a unused TGS menu, which I forgot about, and then we get to do Shadow's Kingdom Valley. So back in 2005, there was a Tokyo Game Show demo for Sonic 06 that looks nothing like the original game. It used the first section of Sonic's Kingdom Valley, but in the files, Chaos found that there were unused layouts for the TGS version of Kingdom Valley for both Shadow and Silver. Shadows is the most interesting as we get to play through his Section 3 of Kingdom Valley, but in reverse. And I'm going to go ahead, just for the heck of it, and give this one shot here to try a pretty difficult trick. This is going to be Shadow's Castle Skip. If you're in the chat from my community, you know what to do if we are able to get it, but it's very difficult to do with Shadow. So we're going to see if it happens here.
Let's see here.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was not it.
Oh, okay. Brown's being rough. Castle Skip Hog. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Nice.
Too easy. Alrighty, that was just one thing. If we have some more time, there is one more extra we can show with Shadow specifically here, which I think would make sense. Wow, 59,999. Scraping that sub-minute by the skin of my teeth there. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to go for it. And yell at me if I need to stop. But there is one more thing. We're good? All right, cool. So there's one more thing in the test stage here. We're just going to grab these speed shoes and run over this way with Sonic. Just a little longer. See, we didn't rehearse this part, so we don't have anything to talk about right now.
Come on, Sonic, go faster.
Sonic goes fast. If we enter this portal, if you liked the bike and some Shadow the Hedgehog music, listening to the Lethal Highway track, we get to play around in a Sonic and the Secret Rings test stage, which is really funny that it looks so much like a road, considering kind of how that game plays and feels. There's no real objective here. We just get to ride around in Shadow's motorcycle and feel really cool as we do, I guess, some tricks off of the jump ramps and stuff, and just kind of get to go around, maybe seeing how many laps we can do. But that was all of Sonic Project 06 and everything that you can do with Shadow. Again, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. It's always a pleasure to be able to play for GDQ, and want to give huge shout outs once again to GDQ for allowing us to invade for about 30 minutes.